Hi, everybody. I'm David.
Hello.
This is Betsy. And we're here to talk about the Global Project.
Yes. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us. It's great to see everybody who's with us in the chat, and welcome also to if you're watching later after the fact. So I see we have a nice global representation already.
We really do. It's really cool. And I just let you guys know Dave is having just a little bit of technical issues here. He will be in shortly, we hope, but we're going to try and cover for him before he gets here. So hang with us because guess what? We've been with David since the beginning of this. We are pretty dialed in and know what's going on. I'm excited. Yeah. This is a really big thing for WikiTree. We are pushing globally. So this is pretty cool. And Betsy, you and David will be here every month to give a tour of a country, right?
That's correct. Yes. The third Monday of every month. We've scheduled out until the summer. We're going to be picking a country to really deep dive into, similar to what David did last year with the 15 Nations tour, with the difference that we're also going to talk about some research strategies. People get things in their toolkit.
So. That's brilliant because as you think about the countries where you typically research and work, now if you want to adopt a country and kind of manage that country, knowing how to research in that country for the records that you add and anybody that helps you.
Yeah.
Would be handy. So that is a really good idea. Darren, that's funny that you say it's summer already because over here in the U.S., we're about ready to get socked with 2 major storms. So
I should have until June.
Yeah. There's a lot of us that probably wish it was summer, including me. Well, I say let's go ahead and show the project page. What do you think?
Sure. Let's go.
And I've dropped the link in the chat. This is the global project. Now, some of you might be a little confused and say, wait, Sandy and Betsy, we already had a global project. And that's correct. We're going to walk you through this a little bit as we go through to let you know that the global project that you are already currently badged for, some of you are, that still stays. So you're not losing that badge. And for those of you that want to come in and adopt a country and be a project coordinator for a country, you will also get the global badge. This will make more sense as we go through the pages. So this is going to be your homepage. I love his logo. This is also the logo of his Thon team. We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah. Yes.
So first off, I know that this is really important to David that we had talked about this. So the project leaders for this global project is David Awen and Steve Harris. And I know this was important to him to let everybody know that I would say, I think, Betsy, this has been going on for at least 6 to 7 months that they've been planning this behind the scenes, if not longer. Mm-hmm. And Awen and Steve have been kind of hand in hand with David working out the details. This is a complicated project behind the scenes to work on because we do have already some country projects existing. And then how do we add all these all these countries to the existing? And then we also have already 2 projects in the global. So I know this was important to David to mention that Steve and Awen have been walking with him on this journey to make sure that we get everything right because this is global. I hope everyone understands this is big. This is a really big deal for WikiTree.
I mean, I love the really long-standing, well-established country projects that WikiTree already has. I'm involved with a number of them, and I think they're fantastic. And this is a chance to provide like a foothold and resources and skills for people who are interested in doing that for other countries.
It really is. You know, I don't know if I would have the courage to pick up a country that's available to adopt that maybe my ancestors are from if I didn't have, like you said, the toolkit.
Yeah.
that we're going to show you. I don't think I would have the courage to do that. So this will be an interesting demo as we go through. And let me go ahead and scroll down. There will be a G2G link. It should be today or tomorrow. So when, just like every project with WikiTree, when you go to their project page, that box that you see in right smack in the middle of the project page will say, this is how you join. There will be one coming up on G2G. You can, from what I understand, and hopefully David will come in and definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I'm understanding, you can adopt a country and kind of manage that country as well as you can be an affiliate. So maybe I don't have the time to actually adopt a country and work on it full time, but I want to be involved.
Mhm.
This kind of reminds me of one name studies in a way where you could be the manager of the one name study or you could be a helper of the one name. So it's kind of the same concept if you guys are familiar with that. I really wish David was here because Betsy and I know how much work he's put into this. When we say this is his baby, I think he had triplets.
At least.
So he can really speak passionate about what this mission is. But I'm just gonna give you, I think, what it means to me. And Betsy, if you can share what it means to you as well.
Yes.
To me, this means that anybody who comes to WikiTree will possibly see that their country is there. It might not have a manager yet. It might be available to adopt, but it'll mean, hey, they're there. They're thinking of me. I'm not just an unknown person from a country that WikiTree doesn't support. What do you think, Betsy?
Absolutely. I mean, I at this point I've heard the stories from many people about how they came to WikiTree, and for so many of them, and me included, it was through just a web search. You're searching an ancestor, and there happened to be a profile for that person on WikiTree, and you wander on and you see what it's all about. And so I love the idea that WikiTree is going to be an even more welcoming place for people to happen upon.
Man, you really, really said that correctly. A more welcoming place, because if I came in here and I was looking for a profile in Bulgaria, maybe my family member was from Bulgaria, and that might be all I see. But then I might see on the profile page, hey, this is part of the Bulgaria Country Project. And then, oh, there's a project. I can collaborate. I can get maybe translations or something like that. So it takes us one little step further from that profile. So that's really great. Again, the join, we need to add the link. I promise it'll be there very, very soon. The requirements are really, really easy. So he also wants to make sure that you do not have to join a global project to participate. And that's kind of the way WikiTree is as well. You can work on any profile that you want after you sign the honor code. You do not have to join a project. The benefit, though, of joining the project is a collaboration on that topic. And so I highly recommend that everybody thinks about joining the global, but also working in your own little project or country anywhere in WikiTree. This doesn't apply to just the global. And we mentioned too, so it will be the third Monday of each month. We will see you and David right here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And then I want to point out too, the Globetrotters Challenge team. We talked about that a little bit. I think he started it last year, if I remember correctly. So if you have not signed up for the Connect-a-thon yet, and you would like to join the Connect-a-thon, but you're not sure if you want to stick with one specific area, a lot of our teams are geographical, some are not. The Globetrotters team, guess what? It's everywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to be a Globetrotter this coming thon. I'm really excited.
So cool. I know. I think that's so cool. It's a fun team. It's really an international thon team built in, right?
Right.
And then for those of you that know, and I know Darren's in the chat here, the whole idea of this global project started with the 15 Nations Global Tour. I bet you were part of that.
Well, I was co-host with David, not every time that he did a presentation, but a few times, and definitely I was eagerly following along with interest because I just thought, first of all, David did a great job, and it helped those countries that were picked really expand their presence exponentially in just like 3 weeks. All of a sudden they had people who were connected to the trees and a resource list, and so that was a great seed for the global project.
It really was. And I love seeing the interest that people had. And a lot of people from WikiTree joined that tour, and they had no idea of where they were going next. It was a big surprise and a big reveal, but they still dug in and had fun with the profiles and adding to the WikiTree. Genealogy, sometimes we get stuck in our own area, my own state, or where my ancestors are in my own country. And it was really interesting and fun to watch people join the 15 Nations Global Tour to expand, to help out outside of their tree, and to also expand and learn more about genealogy on a global basis. And as Betsy said, that was the seed. That was definitely the seed to come in here. So I think the best thing we could do now is let me come back up to the top. I'm sorry, I'll go a little slower. I want to point out the global badge one more time. Once you join this project, you will get the global badge. And for those of you that already have it for two projects, you get to keep it. And what are those two projects? What is Sandy talking about? So basically, they are going to WikiTree is going to call this the worldwide global projects. There are probably more to add to this, but right now we have two: the first responders, and then the Remember the Children. I don't know the breakdown here, but I can tell you, as leader of Remember the Children, we have quite a few members, and I see quite a few also that are in the chat. So for those of you that are in these two projects, you keep your global badge. It's still global because you can't define these per region. These are truly, if you're, say, a child that died young, you could be anywhere in the world. And if you are a first responder, let's say a policeman, policewoman, you could be anywhere. Mm-hmm. So that's why these are the only two right now that are in worldwide projects. You might see more, and they are still global. Let's go ahead. And we're not really going to talk about these two projects because they don't apply to what we're here today. We're going to talk about the country projects. And there we go. So let me ask everybody in chat, have you seen either the bingo with David that talked about the global project, or the really good presentation that he gave on WikiTree Day? He was the last presentation of the day. I think it was at 10 p.m. Eastern. But he did the global information launch on WikiTree Day. And after that, I believe he had about 10 people adopt a country. Mm-hmm. So I want to see if anybody in chat, has anybody adopted a country yet from either of those two? Because I want to say Belgium, and I forget, I want to say Algeria maybe was adopted from the WikiTree Day presentation. So I'm curious to see, because if you have, share your journey so far. And how many people can adopt a country? So from my understanding right now, and this could change, and David would be more the expert. So if there's a country listed that you would like to adopt and it's available, he's looking for one coordinator. If you have somebody that's partners with you and that's really active too, I would imagine 2 coordinators would be okay, wouldn't you, Betsy?
Yeah.
And then you could also be listed as, a helper, affiliate. I'm not sure what term he's using, but that lets you help out with it. Maybe you can translate documents every once in a while. It's not a full-time thing for you on WikiTree, so you could list yourself as a helper to translate. maybe you're a historian of that country and you can help with the timelines.
Mhm.
I know a lot of countries change names and a lot of countries change dates as well of what they're called. So there's a lot wrapped up in this. And I think when you adopt a country, you need at least one person that's going to coordinate and lead it to help those that might come in and
Mhm.
follow and help out. Oh, and Darren does. Darren, you do have a few countries adopted over in your area of the world. So if you'd like to share those in chat, that would be kind of fun to see which countries you adopted as well. And Judy, which country did you adopt? Let us know in chat. That's
Yep.
great that people have already adopted. I love that. Oh, there we go. Let me see. So Mali, that is so cool. And it's probably warm right now, right, Betsy?
Mally sounds pretty good to me.
It's probably warm. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the countries. What you're going to do is you're going to come to the country projects page, and this one is a lot. There's over 150 countries that are available for adoption. But Betsy, I think the first thing we need to talk about is some of the countries that are on WikiTree are not available for adoption. So if you have an interest in Scotland, no, that's not available. So
You can and should get involved with the Scotland project.
Yeah,
That's the case.
I absolutely agree. So David is calling these top level country projects. And let me see if I can scroll down and give you the full list on one page. Almost. Okay. So, for example, everybody probably knows this already because of a couple of things. WikiTree Day presentations, a lot of the countries did a presentation for that, or Thon teams. You see the geographical Thon teams that relate a lot to the country. So I want to say it's Aussie genies, but I know it's Germany genies. And Scotland, I'm in Ireland. I will not even try to pronounce your Thon team name. You'll have to wait to the hangouts on the Thon to see.
Chance to practice.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm showing you now, this list, they are already full-fledged projects with management and categorization in place. Everything is already done for those. So you cannot be a leader of these, but you can get involved with these and ask to participate and see what you can do to help these out. Some of them you might not have known. Like I was a little surprised that Mexico was a full-fledged. I hadn't known that yet. So that was really nice. And Iceland, I didn't know Iceland was a full-fledged project yet. So it gives you an idea of where you can go for something that is already existing. But I think let's go back to our master list. And I'm just going to say 150 plus because I didn't count. David would know off the top of his head, though. And I guess we should start with the A's. Let's just make it easy. As you look at this list, the items that are in bold, he already has a page set up for. So, for example, Afghanistan already has a full, complete country page set up. And Betsy and I'll show you that in just a minute. If you see an asterisk like Austria, that means that's a full-fledged project on WikiTree and not available for you to adopt.
Australia, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Well, yeah, I wonder about it. I'm surprised Austria. I thought Austria was too. Thank you for correcting me on that. And also, if there is a particular country that you are interested in, drop it in chat. And if Betsy and I get time, we'll take a look at that page and we'll kind of make this interactive so you can see what is going on here. I'm going to pick one that I know that David was going to show. And that was Bulgaria. Oops, sorry for the link. Like I said, this has been a monster project. That's been a lot of work. So I promise if you see something like this, we'll get the graphics working. Don't worry about that. Every country page, this is amazing. This is totally amazing. I want everybody to think about this. Every country page, David has fully built out. And it's just amazing how much work it takes just to create one space page. For me in WikiTree, just create one space page in detail is a lot of work. If you're looking at this, he's actually created 4 space pages and he's giving you the tabs to see it. And not just weak space pages. Look at all the information that each country will have that he's going to turn over to you. He doesn't want to manage this. He wants you to manage this.
Mm-hmm. But what a great, I mean, it goes beyond a starter kit.
It does, doesn't
it?
I'm blown away when he first showed me everything he was including on these pages. My first question was, "Do you sleep?" Because
I actually think he doesn't.
I don't think he does either. And remember, I said just 150 plus countries, so there's more than that. But I don't know the total. So that he's created these pages for. This is amazing. So he gives you the geography, the goals of the project are already set up. So literally you just come in, you step in and you start working. Tells you a little bit about the history of the country. So as Betsy said, if somebody came into WikiTree and they saw a profile of somebody and then they saw, oh, the Bulgaria project, let me come in and see what that's about.
Yeah.
I'm blown away. I'm impressed.
Yeah. And we really hope that if you even have the slightest interest in adopting a country, that you will go ahead and do that, because the next step in really grabbing someone's attention is they go to WikiTree, they see the Bulgaria page, for example, and then they see the name of a person that they can contact. And then, we establish a link with them and can convince them that WikiTree is a great place to do their genealogy.
And everything Betsy said, you could put a little bow on it and call it the Power WikiTree collaboration. Mm-hmm. Especially if I didn't know somebody had records in Bulgarian, I find all of a sudden I've got an ancestor from there. I wouldn't know where to go or what to do. But now I feel comfortable because maybe somebody adopted this country and I have somebody I can ask questions and they can educate me and I can help them and I can help WikiTree in the project. So it's pretty cool. You're right. Everything you said, put it up and above. And this is, I'm looking at this timeline too. I mean, he went back to BC. He's giving you everything that you need for the timeline of your country. And it gets better. He's also giving you the demographics. He talks about the languages because, as we know, several countries have different languages in them. So he also not only tells you what those are, but also gives you a link so you can kind of research it a little bit more, and the translate tool, which is great. The naming conventions, I like to use Sweden in this example. If you've ever worked on Swedish records, you know that the naming conventions from the parent to the child are different. He gives you that information on every country page. Everything you see here is on every country page that was in bold. If you see a country that is not in bold on that master list, reach out to him and he will create it. He'll move it to the top of the list and create it. And then includes the heads of state, the monarchy, if there is one. This is just fabulous. I'm looking through this and I feel like this is the 15 nation tour.
Like, on steroids.
Yes. Doesn't it feel like that? It's amazing. And you look at these pictures, and I will tell you, if you browse through some of the countries, you'll be amazed at who you see, actors or sports people that you're like, oh, I know them. I didn't know they were from that country.
Yeah. I thought that was one of the things that David did so well in picking his 15 target people for the 15 Nations tour was he always had the head of state. But then he tried so hard to do a good representation of professions, gender. Yeah, so very diverse.
He really did. He really does. And he wants to make sure that everything is easily found too. Now, for me to go figure out where to find resources for Bulgaria would take me days. He's given it to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I like how even with Ancestry, he makes a little note that there are no Bulgaria specific records in this collection with the date. As we know, indexing happens every day and new resources are added every day. So the date makes a difference to me, because if I'm new to this and I come in and there wasn't a date, he could have maybe added this years ago and I wouldn't look.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I see that he has a date, I know that that's a timeline that I can keep looking to see if Ancestry ever does it. This page is amazing. I mean, what do you guys think? You're going to get this entire page. If you adopt a country, you're going to get this entire page as soon as you agree to adopt it and become the project coordinator for it. And you'll notice this is vacant. So if anybody wants Bulgaria, this one happens to be vacant. David is the project leader over all of the global countries, but he does not want to manage each individual countries. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. So when you agree to be a project coordinator, you're really stepping up the role. You have a love of the country, love of the project. You're maybe a really good researcher in that. You know the language, you can translate. So you're stepping up into a really kind of cool role of being a subject matter expert. I guess let's go through and see also the tabs that he has here. Again, I apologize for the graphics. We're working on them. So just going through the tabs real quick, he gives you a little bit more of the history, but he also gives you details on the politics. And then as I come back up, the people, this is my favorite tab. I hope I picked the right country. I hope he's got the people. So when you saw everybody on that first page, the people, they're now going to be transferred to this page. So anybody who comes into a country will click on this people tab and you'll get that table. I believe he also, I think he did he, Betsy, say, yeah, if they're connected or not connected?
Yes. Yeah.
And we've got a connection. The last reigning czar, Bulgaria, is connected. He's so cute.
I know.
Such a cute picture. And then your resource. So everything you saw on that first page will be put on its own individual tab. Not only does it make it easier for you, but it makes it easier for those that aren't familiar with the country to come in. And just real quick, so Darren has adopted Fiji, Tonga, Vanuatu. Did I say that right? I don't know. And I think I'll kind of say skip over Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Marshall Islands. This is a lot that you've done. Yeah, these are the islands. And let's just take one of them. Like, I would not know where to search for Fiji.
Yeah.
I would know. And I don't think I would do the page as David did, because I think it would be real basic. I wouldn't know what to do and how to do it. But David has given us this entire page of everything we need. And I agree with Melanie.
Yeah.
Hey, Joku, I will let David know that he was a weightlifter, not a registrar. And let me go ahead and answer Melanie. So he does. He creates everything that you saw. He creates. And then he gives you the keys to that country. You get the key to the country, key to the towns, key to the people, and you take it from there. You can do a whole bunch of different ideas with this. Since you are going to be coordinating and project managing this particular country, if you have something cool, a cool find, a person or information, share it on G2G. If you want to do a pop-up and say, hey, I need help. I need help getting more profiles in Bulgaria. I'm the project coordinator for the Bulgaria country. Go to G2G and ask for help and do a pop-up. Put it on your social media. Hey, I just became the project coordinator of Bulgaria. Check this out. Maybe do a YouTube short and tell us a little bit about how you're doing it, the research involved, or maybe you find somebody really, really interesting, you want a profile, put it on GGG, put it on social media. I know that David really wanted to stress again that he is not going to be leading every country. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
You are. So he's giving you the template. Well, this is a little bit more than template, isn't it, Betsy? This is everything.
Way more.
Yeah. So he's giving you all of these pages, and then you do what you want from there. Do you want a map, a picture, of a map? He talks about all the regions. Maybe you want, for the timeline, to put different pictures of the timeline for the maps. It's your country. You can have fun with it. I think the only thing he asks is if you keep everything that's there, so it's consistent across all the countries, but have fun with it. That's what genealogy and WikiTree is about.
Yeah.
Collaboration. Have fun with it. Put your own stamp. Have have the graphics. Maybe you have some ancestor photos. That would be kind of cool. Maybe you vacationed in one of the countries that you're adopting and you really liked it, and you have vacation photos there. You can show that's of the beach or of a forest, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind too, I know that a few of you are asking for his WikiTree ID. He's also on Discord.
Yes, yeah, and I put his ID in the chat. So,
and he's also listed right here on the main page. As well. And if you notice, Lisa, if you notice an error or anything, just reach out to David or the project coordinator, because I do know, as Darren has mentioned, some have already been adopted. Does anybody have a country they want us to look at? Betsy and I'll show you a little tour of it. And let me just pop up some chats that he is giving you the project space. So the goal was, if he gave you the resources and he gave you a start on notables of people, then, as Betsy mentioned, if you're researching this from maybe inside WikiTree, you've been here for years and didn't know, or outside WikiTree and you just happen to stumble on it, you've already got a full country. It reminds me kind of the movie, Build It and They Will Come.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It also just sort of makes me imagine like that feeling when you're a kid and you get the gift of like a big Lego set.
Yeah.
What you going to build?
And how are you going to build it? Because I would build it maybe different than you're building it. And then both of us might build it differently than what the box looks like. The picture on the box looks like.
Right.
And it really depends on your style and what you would like to show and showcase. And Fiji. So let's see. Darren, I'm going to assume Fiji is already. Fiji is there, but it does not have a link yet. So Darren might have a link. This is the other thing. Sometimes when you see it bold like this and it's not linked, it means a project coordinator is working on it and doesn't quite want to show it until they're completely done.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. So it needs some tech issues changed.
Okay.
So Darren will have that probably worked out in 5 minutes because Darren's so good and quick. But we'll give him a couple days. Okay, Egypt. Let's look at Egypt. In Egypt, I believe, you guys correct me if I'm wrong.
15 nations.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
In the Egypt project. Now, I'm glad you mentioned Egypt, because this is a case where David has not converted it over to that template style yet. He's in the process. So let's say that you want to adopt Egypt and you contact David and say, can I adopt Egypt? He will get in touch with you and he will tell you everything that he knows about this project. And if you want to adopt it and it's available to be adopted, again, David knows that we don't have that information today, but if it's available to be adopted, he will move it up to the top of the list if you're interested and create that full template for you. Not yet. They're not yet. He's working on that as well to see if there's an easy list of what's to be adopted and what's not. And again, if you're familiar with one place studies and one name studies on WikiTree, it'll be something similar to that. He will say needs project coordinator on a separate category. I think this is like a whirlwind. He's trying to create these pages in full detail, as well as some of the technical things behind the scenes. So he's doing a little of both at the same hour, every hour a day, because as Betsy said, I don't think he sleeps. And, you know, I will say this, I have, after the WikiTree Day presentation for this project, people did pick random countries, and they started digging in between November and January 1st when this project officially launched. So that was kind of interesting to see what country people picked. I know some picked completely random and in the A's, you know, and then some picked their favorite vacation place, their country where they enjoyed vacationing. Let me show you guys another one. I believe Belgium project. And this one does have a project coordinator. Does not mean you cannot join in. So what I would do in this example is I would contact the project coordinator if there's one listed. Because remember, David said he's in charge of managing the whole global project for the countries, but he does not want to manage each individual country. So in this case, if you do see a project coordinator, contact the project coordinator first and let them know that you are interested in helping them out. And give details. If you only want to help out in translation, if you only want to help out in history, if you only want to create profiles and be one of those silent members, then that's fine too. Because the project coordinator can say, hey, let's start making profiles in this area or this year, this, you know, decade. It's up to you as a project coordinator how you want to manage this. And I think, let me see if I scroll down. I think this one is completed with the people. And again, because we have different types of government, Belgium now has a state head of government, but there was monarchy and notables as well. Miss Audrey Hepburn. And that's why I say it's kind of fun when you go through this and you see some of the people that are here, like the comic who created Adventures of Rin Tin Tin. That's kind of fun. And the singing nun, of course. And we can't forget John Paul Van Damme. You never know. You just never know who you're going to find here. So what do you guys think? Give us some feedback. What do you think? Any country that you're interested in? Maybe it's adopted, maybe it's not. Are you willing to dive in and just make this your own? Pick a country and make it your own.
Well, I've already spoken up to David that I'd like to adopt Taiwan.
That's really cool. Is that one, has he created that page? Well,
he has not.
Well, I will say we need to probably talk about this because you are also on China.
Also, yes. Yeah. Because my ancestors came from China to Taiwan during the 1800s. So I definitely have ancestry in both places.
And I love this. This is a great way of showing that Betsy's managing this country project, but she has helpers as well. And this is a good point too. Once you adopt your country, you might have certain tasks that you want to add to it. Add them. Just like any research that you're currently doing, go ahead and add them. And if you need help, go to GGG and say, hey, I just adopted this country. I'm project coordinator for it. Who wants to join me? Who wants to help? Maybe you need a translation help, anything like that. This is really great because then you can go to G2G. And I want to point out something that's really kind of cool here too. There is a sticker for China. David is working on that behind the scenes as well. But it's going to be kind of per request because you can't request 200 stickers all at once. That's kind of impossible because we're all volunteers here. So at request, he will work on that as well. Well, that's good. So you've got China and Taiwan.
Yeah.
You're ready to go. Are you going to adopt a couple more like Darren?
It's always hard to keep up with Darren. I think if we go by mileage, I think I have my hands full already.
Just a little, yeah. But that's the great thing because remember, you can still work on this and you can still work on a different topic as well that has nothing to do with this country that you're working on. You're just adding this to your WikiTree portfolio of something that interests you and you want to work on. But I got to tell you, you're also helping us become global. And let's not forget that's kind of the underlining theme here. We're going global. And I love that. Yeah, I agree. I think Bessie is going to be quite busy with both China and Taiwan. But there's helpers listed. There's other people who also help. And I can agree. I'm amazed at this work too. I got a sneak peek last year of what David was doing when we were presenting WikiTree Day presentation for global, and I was blown away. I said, wait a second, you're not just going to give me one space page that kind of has just a template of information headers where I've got to put in the information. He said, nope, I'm building them completely out. So when somebody comes in, they feel comfortable knowing that what the theme and template is across all the countries, and then they can make it their own. And that making your own is going to be what's special to your project. Okay, Melanie, which one? Which one?
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be. And I like this too from Steve. What do I think? It's a fantastic initiative. And this really is a brand new way of looking at the initiative, I think. As Betsy and I talked about, build it and they will come. They will feel comfortable knowing that WikiTree has a place for me and it's free. And for this question, I would reach out to David on that because I know he's working hand in hand with some of the existing top tier projects that had that little asterisk. So definitely, Tara, reach out to David and he can help you with that. He has been working so much behind the scenes with Steve and Eowyn to kind of work out the logistics on how to have your own country project that's listed here as coordinating and collaborating with the top tier projects that are quite large, such as Mexico, for example, or England or Scotland. And I agree. I think John's right. What do you think, Betsy? I think it will.
Absolutely. Because like I was saying, people are just one Google search away from finding us.
They really are.
The more we have to offer, the more likely they are that's going to happen tomorrow.
And I think that the more that you put into your country as well, you'll get listed a little higher up in the searches, which will only bring people wanting to help for brick walls, needing brick wall help, people offering their services, people joining WikiTree to help with all of those, but also the basics, create profiles. And I'm gonna just lean in with Melanie and say all three, please, because I need research in all of those. You named 3 countries that I'm desperate for more research in, so feel free. And we've got Stephen. Now, Stephen, I know that you've adopted a country or thinking about a country. And we can do that. That's coming up with AI. I'm sure in 10 years we'll think about that. We will definitely think about cloning Melanie. And this is great too, that Tara, that you're watching Latin America, a team leader in Brazil. So if this is a really, really great thing to mention. So Steve, you're a team leader in Brazil, and if you're interested in Argentina and Uruguay, for example, and let's say Tara is too, this might be a good example where both of you could be project coordinators and work together. Maybe one of you, let's just take Argentina, maybe one of you wants to work on notables and one of you wants to work on just profiles for everyday people. You can break it up that way. You can break it up per region. Argentina is quite large. You could do that and have helpers. But this is a great example of where collaboration could come together and you could both be project coordinators for it.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We do have established projects already going. So, just sort of take a little tour of those one day and see, you'll see that there are different approaches in all the projects.
There really are, aren't there?
Yeah, see what resonates for you and your team.
And I'm just going to scroll down again to the country projects. I'll go slow. And if you have any questions, now's a good time to ask us. If we know it, we'll answer it. If we don't, then we'll let you know to reach out to David. But I'm going to scroll through the list kind of slow so you can kind of get an idea. I've dropped the link in the chat. I'll do it again. And if anybody came late, I just want to point out that if it's in bold and has an underline, there's a link there. That means that page is already that country set of pages that's already created. Don't know if it has a coordinator yet or not, but I will tell you, you'll find that most of these, I would say 75, maybe 85% do not have a coordinator yet. This is brand new. He launched this on January 1st, just about 7 days
ago.
Yeah. So he launched it. The only reason there are coordinators in place now is because if you watched the bingo last year or the WikiTree Day presentation last year, for those of you that watched either of those, he allowed you to have a advanced look at it and pick your country then. Mm-hmm. So that's why we have some that are already there. And then when he launched, and if it's bolded, it has a template and already ready to go. If it's bolded, it has the link. I think Darren's with Fiji did not have the link because they had some technical problems. If it has an asterisk, that's not available. Yeah. The only reason he's showing you that country bolded with a link in asterisk is just to let you know that it is on WikiTree, but that is a top tier project that's already built out. Okay, so here we go. You guys ready for the tour? And as we mentioned, I know Belgium is already picked, and Bahamas is already a top tier. And let's say you want Belize. It's not bolded and it's not underlinked. So don't think it's not available. When you see something like Belize, reach out to David and tell him I want to adopt Belize. I want to adopt it today. I'm ready to go. And he will move that to the top of his list and create it. He's basically going in alphabetical order. So could you imagine if you want a country that's in the T's or Z's, you definitely want to reach out to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always amazed too of these countries. And again, you see Denmark is listed under the Nordic project already there. And if you see a place that's warm and you want to go to vacation, maybe that's an idea. Give you an idea for your bucket list. And as we mentioned, Fiji is bold but not underlined. That's because we're fixing a link.
Yeah.
Fixing some of the details. Finland and France are already top tier. Germany, of course, is top tier. This one's kind of surprised me. Greece.
Well, Greece was one of the 15 nation tour stops.
So he already has done a lot for that. Oh, and this one, if you notice, Mark is also Greece. So in this case, if you want to help Mark, reach out to Mark and not David. Because if you reach out to David, you know what he's going to tell you? Reach out to Mark, who's the project coordinator. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that some of these were not taken. I would have thought Japan, somebody would have taken that real quick. Oh, Melanie, I see some of the countries available. I know, Melanie, did you tell us which one you picked? I don't know if we. And if you guys see one that you want to look at, let us know and we'll try and take a peek. It's basically going to be fully decked out like we saw with Bulgaria or Belgium. And again, let's say you want Nepal. Well, Nepal isn't bolded. Reach out to David and he will bring it at the top of the list. I guess we should talk about too. I don't know. I know David knows, but I know country names change and based on, I guess, who is leading them as well and who, kind of stormed in and took them over because of wars and things like that. If you have any questions of that nature about, well, I thought this country should be called this, or is this country officially recognized, anything like that, contact David. He has got all that information up here in his brain, but he's also done tremendous research on the names of the countries, what they should be called in the research, which leads me to a good question for you, Betsy. So, for example, for Taiwan or China, how are you entering the names? Would you enter the names in their own language?
The place names. Well,
or the people's names.
Names. Well, I think it should be both.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially for people's names because, Mandarin, for instance, is a tonal language. So it totally depends on how you say the tone, the inflection, as to which character it is. You can only be really sure about the name in question by seeing the character. So in my family's profiles that I've done so far, I've done both.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because then you capture both audiences, those that are possibly in country and don't know the language outside of their own, and then maybe a more global audience. So that's really, really great. And if you guys have any questions about that, reach out to Betsy because you already know how to do it. And I think we come to the end of our tour. So I like this. So Melanie has sent a note about Romania. Thank you. That's really great.
Awesome.
And I know that for some of the countries, I deal a little bit with Italy, not much. They're not indexed easy like Ancestry and things like that. How are the records indexed for China or Taiwan, Betsy? Do you got to go dig for them, or are they easily indexed?
Well, right now, the records that I have come across have come to me through family. I have not found things, say, on family. I have not found Taiwanese records on Family Search. When my family has come to the United States, then I find documentation for them post-immigration. But I'm still learning. So
I'm so glad you said that, because aren't we all? We learn until we're not able to be on this earth anymore. If you want to adopt a country, be bold. Don't be scared, because we're still learning.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
DNA is definitely a wonderful tool.
Yeah.
And Elaine has a really good point. Now, I know Elaine also works with the Holocaust Project and Jewish Roots, and you probably come across some of this as well with what areas, what names. I'll just say, like, Germany has changed names a couple times, and different emperors or potentates, and excuse me if I've got that wrong on the title of their names, but how do I put that in WikiTree? And the good thing is when you're entering a profile in WikiTree, in the locations will pop down telling you the dates. That helps.
Yeah.
As well. And I agree with Betsy. We're learning, or this is a fun project. Don't stress out over it. Have fun with it. Dig in, learn. Pick a country. Help us. Help us go global. This is what this is all about. We want to be global. And anybody have any other questions before we wrap up?
This has been such a treat to spend the hour talking about this, getting excited.
And you'll see Betsy again next month, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Remind me again.
I am going to give you the exact date because I think that would be helpful. Hang on. Okay. So obviously this month is a bit of a one-off. So David and I will see you next Monday, February 19th at the same time.
Oh, that's right. Just after Valentine's Day. Everybody,
1 p.m.
country. And I think what you guys are going to do, you're going to showcase a country.
Yes.
And wouldn't it be cool if somebody picked a country and put their own flavor to it and start working it? You could be shown off. Your work in your country could be shown off with David and Betsy's show. Yeah. And I got to say, I know Betsy and I are so disappointed David couldn't be here with you because this is David Randall's baby. This is his love. He got this from the 15 for 15 Nations tour. I can tell you that he's probably been working 18-hour days for the past several months on this. So much behind the scenes that we'll never know or see. And I just want to say, David, congratulations on your project. We missed you, but you'll be here next month. And if you have any questions at all, David is pretty much the one to reach out to if it doesn't have the country doesn't have a project coordinator already. Otherwise, reach out to the project coordinator and they will be able to help you out and tell you what the goals are and go from there. Betsy, thank you for letting me pretend I'm David.
For sure. This was a lot of fun, Sandy, as always.
It was. And when will we see you next? We'll see you next for Rock?
For Rock, yeah. Thursday, we'll have the Rock reveal at, let me tell you all the times, keep flipping around, noon Eastern, 5 UTC.
And I will tell you that I've had a little sneak peek of the interesting finds. You do not want to miss this Rock. It is amazing, the interesting finds. So definitely catch Betsy on the Rock. And thank you for joining us live. And if you are joining us after the fact, thanks for coming in and watching. And I encourage everybody, pick a country. Have fun.
Global.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
All right. Goodbye.